What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this week I want to talk about if Final Fantasy VII's Remake Part 2, which is a long word to say, or long multiple words to say, if they will be announced during July and August. Now, this comes from the report that Square Enix is going to announce new games between that period of time. Now, really quickly, before I get into the story, I want to promote our Discord server really fast. We talk about a variety of topics on the Discord server. Lots of people very willing to talk about just about anything. So if you guys have not yet checked it out, the link for it will be in the description below. Now, remember, and I actually made videos about this in the past, Square Enix was going to, I think they were going to have an E3, right? Now that E3 was removed from the equation, instead of doing a replacement, so EA did a replacement show. You could even argue Sony and Microsoft, although they're doing like multiple things. They're technically doing replacement shows. Ubisoft is doing a replacement show. Bethesda and Square Enix came out to say, we're not doing a replacement show. Okay, we're not going to have like an online 30, 40, 50-minute show to announce games. We're not doing that. What we will do is announce them on a game-to-game basis, okay? If a game needs to be announced, a game needs to kind of be promoted like that, we will do it, okay? So that's what they said a couple months ago, actually. I believe like late March, early April is when both of them, Bethesda was first and then Square Enix was next. But they said during a shareholder call on June 24th, so this was a couple days ago, but they said that they're going to be announcing new games during July through August. Now, I'm going to take this from DualShocker, so I'm going to give them credit because, to be honest with you, I'll be honest, I don't know all that many Square Enix games. I'm not the biggest I actually am a big fan of like RPGs, JRPGs, a lot of different kinds of games. I'm trying to give every game a chance, but there are just some of these games that I have never really played before. I love Kingdom Hearts. I love Final Fantasy. I love like the first Life is Strange game, although they're just the publishers, not the developers. So there are a couple options. However, I'm going to argue, in my opinion, I think it could be Final Fantasy VII. I honestly do think Final Fantasy VII's Remake, Part 2, has a really solid shot of being one of these games being announced. So we had, obviously, Project Athia, which was that PS5 game that was shown at the PS5 reveal event. Now, remember, there were some weird rumors going on. Even a lot of industry insiders were saying the way that people were describing the leaks for Final Fantasy 16 match exactly with this game. It's almost as if this game is like a Final Fantasy 16, okay? But that game was already announced. You have the Dragon Quest. Now, I do know what Dragon Quest is. I've seen some of those games. I actually, Dragon Quest Builders 2, right, came out last July. That was a really solid game, so I know what that franchise is. There are a couple of those games in development that were already announced. So to announce even more of them kind of seems impossible, which is what this site goes on to say as well. They go on to say like Star Ocean. There's a couple other examples, and then even DualShocker said the same could be said for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. As while I personally don't believe it'll release anytime soon, Square Enix did announce the first game many years before launch. Now that honestly is the thing to kind of zone in on. I think that just because this game is probably a few years out does not mean at all that they can't announce it. A thing also to realize is all the stuff we've taught, and I have actually made videos on these things going in the past when Final Fantasy VII, the remake, came out. How fast could we get a Part 2? And actually, Nomura himself said they want it out very quickly. Now, the talk is they've already started. They started actually almost a full year ago making Final Fantasy VII's Remake Part 2, so it's not like it just started yesterday. They've been going. They've been doing it, and they're going to probably use a lot of the assets from this first game. Beyond that, it'll probably be a next-gen game, which we know next-gen games can actually be developed a lot faster than current-gen. Making a game on Series X and PS5 is a lot faster, and actually it would only be PS5. Maybe. You know, the exclusivity is what, for like a year, and then eventually it comes to more consoles. So, you know, I guess, are we assuming that Final Fantasy VII's Remake Part 2 is only on PS5? I think we would. Then it would be for the PS5, and we know that, again, it takes a lot less time. In fact, Sony has gloated about that multiple times, that the PS5, you can make games for a lot faster. So it would be made for the PS5, which you can make for, you know, a quicker amount of time. It would be using probably a lot of the same things for the you know, first part to second part, and it's not like the first part is outdated or anything. Firstly, it just came out, and secondly, it looks absolutely, you know, incredible, right? So you have those things working for you. We know that they've been working on it for almost a year, and they probably had plans before that. We also know that I believe the Japanese, the actual like motion capture people for Cloud and Tifa are back in the studio doing motion capture work. This was like around like a month ago. Obviously, after all this stuff has gone on, they're getting basically back to work, right? So they're doing motion capture. Now, again, motion capture can take a very long time. It can take a very short amount of time. It can go straight up, not necessarily all the way up to release, but it can go. I mean, it can go for quite a while. I really do think this game could only be a year or two away. I would not be surprised to see Final Fantasy VII's, Part 2 in 2022. I would not expect it to take, I think, would I be surprised if it took 3-4 years? No, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think they need to get this game out within like 1 to 2 years. That's just my belief. I don't know if that'll end up happening, but that's what I think. And in that case, if the game is only 2 years away, if they're already doing motion capture, if they've already been working on it for a little while, if Nomura wants it out very, very quickly, if it's easy to make PS5 games, if they're using think about all this stuff. They're using the assets of the first game, all this kind of stuff. I think it can be, firstly, very, very soon that it's coming, and secondly, would not surprise me at all if they announced it this July or August. They would firstly be giving the first remake, Part 1, they would have given it enough time to breathe this time. You wouldn't announce a Part 2 when, like, the first month that Part 1 is out. You know what I mean? Because you want to focus on what Part 1 is doing. You know what I mean? You really want everybody to buy that. You don't want to say, okay, game comes out tomorrow. Oh, but by the way, we're going to talk about Part 2 now. You know what I mean? That's just not how marketing for these games work. It's not how marketing for any of the games work, and just not even Square Enix, not just Nomura, but anything. So you've given it now proper time to breathe. It's been out for several months now, and it would be out for several months even more for July or August. So you're doing that, and also what the article does point out, which is a good point. Think about when they announced Part 1. They announced Part 1 years and years. What was it, like 4 or 5 years before it actually came out? Okay, they actually basically had nothing finished or nothing they were working on it, but it was nowhere near completion when they first showed the remake at that Sony E3. Okay, I think that was like 2014, maybe 2015, but it was like 5-6 years before the game actually came out. They've done that actually with Kingdom Hearts before too. They announced it like 5 years, right? Kingdom Hearts 3, they announced like 5 years, 6 years before it came out, when literally, and I believe Nomura even said, like, yeah, what we showed, that was literally the only thing we had finished at the time, and we wanted to show it, and we probably jumped the gun with showing it too early. You know what I mean? So, they've had mistakes before in terms of announcing things too early. I don't think this is a mistake, though. I feel like they can get this game out very, very quickly, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense to announce your game within the next couple months. Again, you announce it, you show it would be a very small teaser, maybe even just the name, right? And they could maybe do a year, but that's kind of, with the fact that it's not coming out for another, possibly like 2 years, that would be kind of rough, but we'll have to see. I'm not expecting it because I don't want to be disappointed if it doesn't happen, but I would not be surprised if it was announced over the next 2 months. I think it would be very, very exciting. It would be very awesome, and I'm looking forward to it, okay, whether or not it happens or not, right? So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think this game is going to be announced over the next couple months? Do you think this game is releasing 2021, 2022, later? If it gets released 2023, 2024, I think that takes it off the table of being announced over the next couple months. I don't think they'll make the mistake of announcing it 4 or 5 years before it comes out again. Okay, so if you guys don't agree with my prediction when the game comes out, then maybe you won't agree with if the game's going to get announced next month, right? But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously, if the game does get announced or any other Final Fantasy VII remake news or Final Fantasy news in general, I'll obviously be covering it on the channel. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.